Peace, everybody. How you doing? I have an amazing guest today. Go by the name of Miss Lee. She's a dope B girl, and she also does stunt work though too. So we're just gonna do a follow up on the interview that we did a while ago to see what she's been up to, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Eyes are looking sleepy, but that's okay. Sergio, what's going on, bro? How you doing? Welcome to the live. Dang, it's raining outside today. I don't know where you guys are at, but here in California, we have storms all day. Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
pretty good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Just,
It's been a while though, right? About like at least like 2 years.
yeah, I think it's been like 2 years since we did this before. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what have you been up to in
Uh,
these last 2 years?
I mean, uh, just just working for film and TV, and it's been good. Luckily busy. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Are you are you still like? I haven't really seen you at. You didn't go to freestyle session this year, huh?
No, I was actually working in Hawaii. They had me out there for like 3 months, and then I go work in New Zealand for another 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's good.
That's good because that's what you love, right?
Yeah, it's like getting to make stuff and see it kind of uh come out to play and like see the ending of it. So it's cool to like come up, try to make something. I'm just kind of like one of the core team, but our fight coordinator and everybody's like, it's a good team and it's cool to just make stuff.
Yeah. Have you been keeping up like with the B girl scene at all, like up to
I've
date?
been watching the battles. I saw the girls that came out and I was like, damn, they're so crazy. They're dope. But not as deep as I could probably just because of work. But I did
Yeah.
watch some of the battles thanks to like I Stan's guys.
Who, what battles did you see particular? Because I like the battle where there's a girl, her name is India. She's from Hustle Kid.
Oh, she's good.
She's the
Good,
one that,
yeah.
yeah,
I think I saw her. Did she battle logistics too?
I I think she might have battled her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely watched. I was watching some of her battles. There's, I think India and another girl I was watching that was they were pretty
Hmm.
dope. The energy's good, which is dope, and it's cool seeing everybody
Yeah.
like like good explosions, energy kind of.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, if you don't mind sharing again, because last time I didn't get to save the live though, could you share like your beginnings again and how you got the name and what inspired you the first break?
Oh yeah. I mean, when I first started breaking, it was kind of like I met some b-boys through a good friend of mine and she was moving and they're,
Uh-huh.
oh, you should come train with us. And I was like, okay. And I was already pretty active before. I was like into skateboarding and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So like throwing on the floor was like, oh, that's cool. It works. And then and then lucky for me, they knew everything about like the international battles and about they knew where all they had all the videos. They would compete in other cities as well, and they'd go to Cali sometimes. I was from Utah, and
Yeah, I was gonna mention that you're from
yeah,
Utah.
yeah, I'm from Utah. So, and yeah, I would just go with them and battle, and I got it was like so addicting. And I eventually moved to Korea, and
Oh,
I
okay.
go by Lee. So in Korea, everybody was like, "Oh, Lee, Miss Lee, Miss Lee." So a lot of people thought it was my last name just because it is last name.
Oh, so
Um,
your first name is Lee?
no, my middle name is Lee. My first name's actually Adrian.
Oh, Adrian. Okay.
But yeah,
That's
so
pretty.
my so yeah, that's how I got the name, and that's how I started out.
Do you remember what year that was? Was that like the early
I
2000s,
started
2000?
breaking in '01, and then
Oh man,
I
okay.
went to Korea '05, I think, '05 or 6.
Okay.
And then I was there till like 2016 or something, 2015 or 16.
Wow.
Yeah, I went out there for breaking. I like everybody was like, "Are you going back to see your roots and everything?" I was like, "No." I don't really care. I just want to go break.
So what
When I get
nation
addicted to something, I like to end the tunnel vision hard and into it.
yeah. So what nationality are you?
I'm Korean.
Oh, you're Korean. Okay, so you just did you when you went back, did you were you ever there before? Or was that your first time?
No, that was my first time, and I went out there because the guy I was dating at the time
Hmm.
got a job teaching English. So I stayed at his, and then I ended up getting a job, and they let me do that, and then I was kind of on my own, and then yeah.
Yeah. So I've noticed with your breaking, your head spins are pretty strong though. Like, was that one of the first moves that you focused on when you first got into breaking?
Actually, yeah. Headspins was like a really main thing, and I could
Why is
always
that
do,
for you?
huh?
Why was that for you? Like, why did you specifically focus on? What did you see that wanted to inspire you for the head
Well,
spin?
my ex did it. One
Okay.
of the guys in my crew, he was a head spinner, but I had always, even when I was younger, I was always standing on my head. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know the random things you do as a kid.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then like so standing on my head was already easy. And then I think the first time I ever tried a drill, I got some pretty good rotation. And
Yeah.
everybody was like, ah, and I never got that again for like a long ass time though.
Oh,
You know, one of
really?
those like first time flukes when you like do it and it works because you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I guess I just naturally gravitated to that and power moves and stuff. It was just fun.
Yeah. Because I noticed like sometimes when girls when they do power moves, it's not as crisp and fast as the guys. But I noticed when I see your power moves, like they have a lot of wet. Like your moves
Oh
are like,
yeah, it was a lot of it is because I would watch him and I'd watch other people as that would do it, and even like it's like kind of with skateboarding too. Like the less you commit, the worse it's gonna be for you. And so
yeah.
it was kind of like, and I kind of have a personality of like, screw it, let's see what happens, and I just chuck it. And it was kind of like I could kind of feel how that would actually make it easier. It's a lot easier to like go hard first and maintain than it is to like maintain and try to build and try to build.
Yeah. Were you ever a part of a crew like back in the day though
Um,
too?
we had a crew for a minute called Dirty Hands in Utah.
Dirty Hands.
Yeah,
Okay. I never heard of them.
yeah, this is a Utah crew. We were really close with like Angels of Death,
Hmm.
and
I was gonna ask about those two later on Angels.
yeah, yeah. Like, so I think one of the guys from our crew eventually went to them, but our crew only lasted for like a year or two, and like Gordy was in our crew for like a hot minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Let me
I know. I actually
tell you something.
from Utah.
You know what's crazy? I want to share something with you about that. Flexum, he started actually with me.
Huh?
He started with me.
Oh, really? Oh, wait, did I
Yes.
already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last time, right?
Yeah. Flexum started with me. Like this was like around um I'll say 95, 96.
Okay.
Because he used to be in a crew called SOS, which is called Strictly Old
I
School.
think I remember that. Like, I vaguely remember that. I forget how long ago it was.
Yeah, like
A long
he started with us.
time ago, but
Yeah, you're right. I have to when you think of the 90s, you gotta go.
yeah.
You kind of gotta like go back because it's so long
Oh, I
ago.
almost forget like how long ago and how old I
Yeah.
am now.
So the story that he told me is that after he left, California, he ended up moving to Utah, and then he told me from his, I guess from his understanding that I guess he said that he was one of the best out there. I don't know how true that was.
No, this is very true. At that time, like Marlon came out of
Uh-huh.
too, but the scene in Utah just wasn't like there's a lot of good guys. It just they weren't at that level, and he was kind of dominating the scene. So it was like there. it's kind of like any other city that's not like a big, like Utah's not that big, especially like, right.
Yeah,
So, yeah, he was definitely like the top guy out there.
that's crazy. So he was a part of your crew?
Yeah, I think he ended up joining. I think we all kind of made the crew at the same time because the crew didn't exist beforehand.
Hmm.
All of us training together and hanging out together and then doing stuff. And I think we would all like go to LA to battle and then we would just make a crew out in LA. I think before it was
Yeah.
called, which maybe it was before that. I think before Dirty Hands, I'd call ourselves Nameless.
Nameless?
Yeah.
That's so
I
good.
don't know. But I think it was like we went to, was it Arizona? I think it was, we went to an Arizona battle. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty much like we would go to different cities and battle, but we weren't like officially crew. So we would just
right.
make a crew there. And like,
Hmm.
but we were part of like the Ogden area. I lived in Kaysville. The guys lived in Ogden, which is like north. Kaysville's in
Okay.
the middle and then south. And like
Yeah.
Miguel 187 and those guys are from Salt Lake City more so. And it was like 30-40 minute drive difference.
Mm.
So we would there and everything. So
Mhm. Okay. Um, so how do you feel about like breaking going into the Olympics in 2024? What's your opinion
you
on
know,
that?
it's like I'm kind of mixed. There's a part of me that like
Me too.
I
Me
like it
too.
because I if I didn't see it on TV or if I hadn't seen it where I saw it, I wouldn't have known about it or the level or anything like I wouldn't have even known where to look, if that makes sense.
Hmm. That makes
Um,
sense.
on the other hand, I also know that it like it's gonna change the nature of things and it's gonna divide things and I
Can
mean
you
the
can you give me a
huh?
I want to say, can you elaborate on that? Because I feel the same way too. How do you feel that it's gonna like change the nature of breaking and divided?
Well, I think like if people just straight go to musicality or dance or anything like that, it's not gonna be enough for something of that caliber. It's like
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of what the art form is our own expression and it's so objective or yeah,
Mm-hmm.
objective of like I like this, but it doesn't this person is gonna like this. There's like everybody has their systems. Like Dizzy has his system, and these other people have systems. But it's like most of the stuff in the Olympic is point based, and I don't really know how they're gonna do it. But yeah, I'm kind of mixed. I will say the positive side of me though is more like excited for it, just because of the level it brings and what it can bring to other people and discovery of it. And like once you really get into something, you start to dig yourself, even if nobody digs.
Yeah.
It's like example. This job I'm on now is like about Hawaii and the natives, and I didn't know any of this stuff before I went on this job. And I knew about Hawaii, but I didn't know about like its history that well, or even
Mm-hmm.
like how it goes. But I feel like it's in the Olympics and it's gonna, it'll start, it'll definitely, I feel like it'll kind of divide into like little factions.
Mm.
Kind of like it kind of is a little bit, you get like the power heads and you get like the people that are like, these are the fundamentalists and you have like, everybody's kind of mini segregated, but at least the beef nowadays isn't as crazy as it used to be. So.
Yes. Why do you think so? Like, why do you think the beef has changed though?
To be honest, I think because there's a new class, like working class of people.
Yeah.
When I started, nobody was like college students or,
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was like I went to my friend's house and they lived in Ogden. There's gangs everywhere. They're not like they all dropped out, everything. And when I left to Korea and I came back, everybody I met was like college students, graduates. Like they were all like middle, semi-middle, kind of upper class in some areas, which I just wasn't used to.
Mm-hmm.
Their demeanor, the way they interact with other people. Like when I started, if you call someone out, you either had beef with them or you thought they sucked. It was like there was no personal there. Where
Yes.
like when I came back, it was like, oh, we'd like to battle you. It'd be like an honor, and I was like, oh, okay, like you not like me? I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you, but like, if you don't like me, you can just say it. But they're like, no,
Yeah.
we want to, we want to battle. We like what you do, like the people that would like battle Home 10 or these other people because they just want the chance to like battle with them, like a,
Mhm.
like a duel. So that would be probably the biggest thing I would say of why the beef isn't the same
Yeah.
at the same
I
level.
think
I think it's still there. It's just over.
I think from my point of view of being involved with breaking so long, I think the beef has changed because breaking is really so commercialized that it's like if you really like diss somebody, it might take away from your job opportunity to be able to like do like commercial shows.
Mm,
Because before like Red Bull and all that, like the beef was real. Like there used to be fights like before the jam, or actually when the jam was going on. This is before Monster, this is before Red Bull, this is before
yeah,
YouTube. So it's like nobody had anything to really strive for. It was just like we're gonna represent LA and like F New York or F Miami,
yeah.
you know, because you know.
Yeah, I think it's because it's funny because even like the guys that do street shows out like in LA, I think some of them
Hmm.
get like in that thing, but then some of them don't. And I I also would also on top of that add I know a lot of b-boys now that just aren't that kind of demeanor. They pretty much
Yeah.
fights if someone brings stuff like it's funny because it's kind of like the stunt world's kind of similar. Like
Oh,
uh
really?
yeah, it's funny because the old school stunt guys are like they'll tell me stories when they were just in a bar and someone would say something and then one of the guys would just be like whack, like they just get in their face and then they don't care about like if he starts mouthing
Yeah.
off here, he's gonna grab him, throw him. But the guys nowadays are like, oh buddy, like it's okay, like let's figure it out. Like they're just not, but they also
Yeah,
don't
you're
have
right.
background, they're not as willing to just they don't get as like in it as
Yeah,
easily and they're more like okay.
you're definitely right though. Thank you for sharing that because I never really heard a woman's point of view on like the beef within like breaking. But I even noticed with the B girls, just really I've never really seen a history of beef. I think maybe they might dislike it, they might see you
Yeah,
do a move and they're just like, oh, you're whack. But it wasn't like, you know what, bitch, when I see you, like it's on.
I think it was there, but I think most of the girls know. I mean, when I started, I felt like most of the girls kind of know this. They kind of work around this, like, little maze. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
think a lot of them did have beef. I did see it when I was.
You did see it?
Oh yeah, like girls fighting or people just getting beef. A lot of it would be either like a lot of it would be relationship beef though, like someone like hooked up with someone else or whatever. It was never about to be honest, most
Yeah,
of the beef that I
you're being
saw
honest.
wasn't really about the breaking, about like the dance. It was about interactions between other people, like, oh, you talked to him or you did this or like you knew that this was this or blah blah. Had nothing to do with like you're a biter or you took my
Oh,
stuff
okay.
or you beat me or it most of the beef I saw was like personal shit.
Yeah, that's so true. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Where with my
also,
crewmates, some of the other guys I knew, they would like beef over like you took my move. It'd be mixed. It'd be all of it. It'd be that on top of like, oh, he thinks that I'm not over. He doesn't think that he thinks that I'm a biter or something like that. But
mhm, I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, as we go into the year 2023 and the Olympics, like, what advice would you have being a B girl, like, consistently, like 15, at least 15 years, though, right?
yeah, since I won, so 20.
20, like, yeah,
Although I
21 years, though, right?
haven't been as deep in it lately, just because of work.
Right. But to me, if you're a B girl, like, if you don't completely walk away from breaking, like,
Yeah,
you're,
I mean, to be honest,
you're still
the
involved.
freestyle aspect of it and everything, and piecing together sets is exactly what I do at work. Like we learn silat, boxing, taekwondo, judo, jiu-jitsu, all these things, and then you make a fight and you're just like you're putting these pieces all together, and then when you're on the day and they're like, I don't want that, you're like, oh, well, you can do this. So that freestyle mentality actually is super helpful at work, to be honest.
Yeah,
Create off of like your brain.
right. So what I wanted to say, with that being said, though, like, what advice would you give like from a woman's point of view to like maybe somebody younger watching this video, like what would you share with them to basically like things that you didn't learn in the past, but you know now that you might pass on to them and say, you know what, like these were my mistakes when I was younger.
Mm,
Like you should go about like, possibly like doing it this way.
yeah.
Like what advice would you share though? Because there's a lot of things I can look back on and say like, man, like if I could share my advice with today's generation, like I would have like I would have really tried to gravitate towards like college or get it like
Yeah.
really financially stable, just instead of just being, I'm just gonna break until I win every contest, and a lot of times things don't work out that way, and then unfortunately you start struggling in life.
Mm, I I mean, my best thing that I can say is like work your ass off and don't give yourself any excuses. Don't say that you can't do it because of this. Don't say it.
Yeah.
The hard part is most of the time that's exactly why it'll be hard to get stuff done. But as soon as you let it, it will. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like for me, it was like for me to be the height I am, the look I am, and working in the industry the way I am right now is on paper it usually doesn't work, but you know,
Oh, really?
yeah, because like most women are like they need women that are like 5'4", 5'5" to double. The men are usually like 6 foot. They want mostly white or Asian or like I
Yeah.
don't care, but for my height and whatever, I can't really double that many people, but I've been able to. Um,
Oh, I
yeah,
see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, like, but it's also when I started breaking, like as far as like, especially when it comes to breaking, it's like keep drilling it, get it, never be satisfied with like everybody I know in breaking, even outside of breaking, like parkour guys, stunt guys, you know, boxers, they're never happy with themselves. I get,
Mm.
I've never met some of the most talented friends I have are not like I'm the shit, I'm dope. This is the dopest, like this is better than anybody else's. Then most are the opposite of that. Most of them are like, this,
Yeah.
I want this better. I want this. Like this needs to be better. Like I don't like this. Like they're always striving to level up and get to that next spot because they're competing with themselves, and it's like you can either be like, oh, I didn't get that because of this, or I didn't get it because of this, or you can be like, I know this and this is going to be a problem, so I'm going to make sure it's not a problem.
Hmm.
I think the best example, especially when it comes to breaking and leveling up, especially
Yeah.
I heard from like people I knew in the States versus like when I was in Korea, um, it was like the top crews was like Rivers and gamblers and
Yeah.
then battling,
An
right?
expression. An expression.
Yeah, an expression. And Jinjo came in and they were nasty,
Hmm.
but they would never win. They would never win.
Mm.
Had a battle of name. They had a battle of Rivers name. They had a battle of Gam. They were dope.
Yeah.
Like it's not top dope. It's like they were always dope. Um, but they weren't like they didn't really beef. Like they weren't like, oh well, you guys are just voting this because they're famous and I never really heard that much from them. Granted, at the time I didn't speak that much Korean, but I didn't see it in their demeanor with other crews.
Yeah.
But they would own their act like they were already dope, and when they started winning, they were crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was almost like weren't they didn't it wasn't like the politics made it be like, oh well, we're never gonna win, so they were like, oh, they got so dope that no one could deny that they won. and
I like that.
and I think that's what if people bring to the table, and it's kind of what I see now at work. It's like
Hmm.
everybody that I see that's like up here doing this kind of work, it's like they don't turn off. Like even I forget
Mm.
sometimes. Like I've outside of I like when I would see Hong Ten and those guys, they practice every day, all day for like 8 hours,
Yeah.
always. Like they were
Style
on it all
elements
the
too.
time. Yeah, like when like when if you think about like I always that's why I tell everybody like don't make any excuses why you can't. Like I
Hmm.
like run into training every morning after not help me.
Yeah. I think you said something that I really agree with. I think that if you get dope at what you do, even for the B girls, And for what I do too, if you get to a certain level that you get so dope that the world can't deny you, like that's what it's about. Because you're always gonna have people that say, I don't like Miss Lee. I don't like Mikey Eyes.
Mm,
But if you're so dope and they see what you do visually, you can't deny it. You can't sit there and say, you know what? Because then you obviously everybody's gonna look at you like you're the one that's really hating because like
mm.
look at what this girl does. Like she's doing stunts, she's traveling, she's whatever, So I think that really makes a lot of sense. And I think that's the advice that I'm going to take from myself too as well. And that's the reason why I wanted to do this, but I want to get it professionally. Like I really want to get to a level where it's like I'm in a studio, like with a green room and I have lights
Yeah.
and, so when it's looked at, it's just like, yo, this guy's been killing it since COVID. After COVID, it's like, yo, he's just really on this thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's exactly it. The easiest way I see it is like the people that I saw doing stuff in the breaking world, and then the stunt world is probably a very like a bigger ecosystem of that, which is like the guys that are like up here, like the guys making like John Wick, and the guys that are making like all
Oh,
these and
yeah.
all this other stuff. They don't turn off. They work hard, and people can say whatever they want about whatever movies. Oh, no one does that, or that was stupid. Or I can't. They're making what they love and they're passionate about, and they work nonstop, and they make it to the point that was like they start to dominate,
Mhm.
you know, and it's just like not letting any of the little excuses like.
I'm on the phone right now, excuse me.
But yeah, I
So,
biggest thing I would say, because I think in my experience with B girls, and it's hard because I'm harsh too, and I talked with Narumi and Ayumi and same with Shi-chan like back in the day, and the biggest thing was like not as many people are willing to you know like learning power kind of sucks. Like you're angry probably 98% of the time, but that 2% that you get it, you're like super happy, and it's like completely worth it. But
yeah.
it's like some people don't want to get hurt, some people don't want to do this. They like there's all these little reasons why I can't do this. It's like, oh, I can't because my shoulder, and I was like, well, that's why I like started doing my own PT, because I was like, do it. Oh, this is like, oh, I'm gonna start like lifting to make like this easy, and it's
Mm,
like start to facilitate your life to make what you need to work instead of just being like, I can't because of this.
mm,
And that's the hard part. And knowing, being willing to be like, I know this is going to be a problem. If I do this thing or accept this thing, it's a potential. Like a random thing is like, we would call like girlfriends b-boy killers.
oh, really? Never heard that.
Because it was like, usually if they got a girl, they didn't come around anymore. But it's
Yeah.
also of like, but if you were with someone that understood what you were doing or whatever, it's like it's kind of part of the. I knew b boys that wouldn't date certain people because they knew that if they did, it'd take them away from breaking. And I was like, I can totally get that, because if you're a person, you're gonna get it. So it's kind of
Yeah, sometimes.
added to that, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes with relationships, you're right though. Like now that you brought that up, I've seen a lot of people that used to dance with me. Once they got in a relationship, the girl was like, they just like, bro, I can't, I can't. Every time it's like, I can't. I'm like, come on,
I'm
man. All
struck
right.
about.
And they're on the phone. Yeah, they're on the phone. Like,
Yeah, it's hard because it's true, and and it's hard. My experience is I just only date people that are really passionate about something else, so they can understand
oh,
why I did it, or why I train or do what I do. But yeah, it's just kind of those things of like, I knew big boys that were like in the Philippines, where it's like they didn't have enough money to go to training, so they would go to training instead of spending that money on food. It's not saying one decision is better than the other, but it's more about like, what are you willing to sacrifice to get
yes,
what you need or want.
yeah.
And I think that my personal thing, which might not be the best, but I'm not comfortable with being comfortable, if that makes sense.
Oh, What do you mean by that? Comfortable not being comfortable?
Like, I'm not comfortable being comfortable. Like, oh, I'm just gonna work this much, or I'm just gonna do this, or like, oh, I don't want to like go work out, or I'm gonna be sore, I'm gonna do this.
Oh,
You know, it's like,
oh yeah.
it's kind of like, I don't want, like, I wouldn't want to be, everything is just good. I, I don't mind stressing about things if I know that I can get this. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
I,
thank you for sharing that.
yeah, it's like my job is our job now. It's like it's stressful. You get everything changes. You know, you're literally throwing your body at things. Um, you know, you have to train. That gets you hurt sometimes. You know, I've like snapped my MCL. You know, and yeah, it's like, but then it's like, oh, I know I can do PT. I know I can eat like this and get back to this. I know I can, you know, put more money here and not worry about this. I'm really even eat like this so that my body's good so I can do this other stuff.
Yeah,
And it's like, if I'm just like, oh, well, I don't really want to get hurt, so I don't want to do that anymore. And then, you know, it's like, it's hard because you have to be comfortable because, you know, you ever hear like
mhm,
when like injuries, like when a lot of people get injured, it's like, oh, this is like done. Like it's been like 5 years. I can't do this. And then
right.
you've seen other people that have like shattered their forearm or they've done this and you didn't know, but they were just eating this the whole time and they did everything on the other arm. And then they, you know, they were like making sure they, you know, they ate lots of like calcium and magnesium. And then when they
Yeah,
the cast, they like worked out their muscles and stretched them out. So kind of tried to go to back to 100. Like you see all these fighters that get arms and limbs broken, but they come back in the ring. You know, it's not easy for them to do, but they do it.
yeah.
And
That's
I think,
pretty that's pretty interesting that you touched on things that you eat that can basically benefit your body, you know, because your body was designed to heal itself, but it needs the nutrients to do it.
yeah, it's actually kind of crazy because what I've learned, especially from getting injured and everything, is
Hmm.
that the doctors will tell you what will happen with the average person, because the average
Hmm.
is not going to push PT. The average person is not going to look up what new exercises or what better things to do to help you heal and get stronger in the right places. You know,
Hmm.
the average person isn't going to do their research or put in that extra amount of effort to get better. So that's when doctors are like, oh yeah, you might have a harder time doing this from now on, because they know you're not going to like go deep into PT for like 3 months to like work out these little muscles and do these really annoying, like boring workouts. Because you're, but so they'll tell you what the average is, but you you would be surprised at how much you can heal and get back to, you know.
Mm.
I, I've torn my rotator cuff like 2 or 3 times.
I snapped my Achilles tendon 3 times.
Oh, snap.
The first time I was out for a year and a half, I thought I was done.
Yeah. And then you went back to it,
And I
right?
went back to it.
And you know there's people out there that are like they snap their Achilles and like, yeah, after that I was done. And you're
Yeah,
like, that's what you think, but your body is pretty resilient.
it is though. Yeah, you're right though. Man, I didn't realize like how many injuries that you went through, you know?
Oh yeah, I broke my arm. I messed up my neck really bad. I couldn't like turn for like a month and a half. I
Oh,
got back
shoot.
up. I torn my rotator cuff like 3 times. I've snapped my right MCL. I've hurt my left MCL. I've almost broken my ankle. I've gotten a couple of injuries. Um, and most of those except one are from breaking. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the one MCL was actually jujitsu. And that was because
Oh,
wasn't I didn't know anything about it at the time.
mhm.
It was just like they did something and I didn't know the proper way to get out of it. And it.
Oh, yeah, and that's how it sounds.
Yeah, it sounded like a well, not like
Yep, like a
a
little tick.
yeah.
It's like a little,
I couldn't stand up. I could feel it like, but I but then it was like when I did the PT, they gave me really basic PT, and I was like, "There's no way." And so I started
Mm,
researching online, and then I started hitting up people I knew that
mm-hmm.
knew PT people that for like athletes and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like for the football players and stuff, and they just sent me pictures of workouts for free that I could just,
Oh, okay.
and I would just do it at home, and I'd have to figure out things that would make me remember to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like not figure out to do it. It was figure out what I needed to do to make myself remember and want to do.
Yeah.
That was like the hard part. And then I think when I started getting injured, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat really, really healthy. I'm gonna eat really clean.
What was
I
your
stopped like drinking.
when you s- yeah, when you say you eat really clean, really healthy, like what is your diet? What was your diet like?
Like I would eat like a Carl's Jr. all the time, and I always ate fast food. My family never really ate healthy. And then once I tried to eat healthy, it was really hard because I couldn't do it. I
Mm-hmm.
just craved too much. And actually, it wasn't until someone told me about intermittent fasting at first. And I was like, okay. And they're like, just, if anything, at least reduce your calorie intake. And sometimes the easiest thing for me, because everybody went out at night, is I made a really hard decision. I was like, okay, I won't eat past 7 p.m.,
Oh,
which
okay.
is really hard because everybody goes out at like 9. But yeah, I stuck it out, and then I started losing weight, and then it was easier to eat like healthier things. Like I would eat like I don't know, like sandwich, or I would just eat something that wasn't like blasted with oil or fat.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then and then once I started eating that more consistently, now I can't, it's really hard even for me to eat fast food because like I'll eat it and I'll just like feel like bleh.
I know. I won't even touch it. You're right. Like once you stop doing that and you try to go back to burgers and fries, like after you take that first bite, you can feel it in your body. Your body's like it's trying to
Yeah.
process it. It's trying to understand what's
Mm-hmm.
going on.
Yeah, it's kind of like yeah, your body just struggles to just really eat like that. And actually, to be honest though, now that I'm older, I my body doesn't even like even certain healthy foods. Like I can't eat
Oh,
yogurt,
really?
eggs, or broccoli, or cauliflower, or
What?
chicken, which sucks because I love
You
chicken.
can't eat chicken? What does it do? Make stomach ache?
No, I get acne from chicken.
Oh.
Weird,
So no wing stop?
huh?
No wing
No,
stop?
I can do it like every once in a long while, and then I'm like, and I was like, okay, fine. I was like, worth it. It's fine. But yeah, other stuff, like, yeah, my body's like, you're
Yeah.
more, yeah, yeah, it sucks. But yeah, and then the more I ate better, and the more I would like talk to my friends about it that were healthy, they'd be like, oh, I like doing this, I like doing that, and then you try it and you find it, but yeah, food definitely was a game changer for me as
What
far as
about
like,
water?
I'm really bad about water even still. Right. So what I do, my thing right now is I'll get like I have these Sour Patch hydration packets that they sell from Ghost, I think. Or
Hmm.
I'll do like BCAAs or whatever. And if it's a little flavored, it's easier to drink. But water is definitely
You
something.
can't do it. You can't do it straight.
It's no, I love water straight. It's just remembering to do it
Yeah.
and to be at work, I don't just because I don't want to go to the bathroom all the time at
Oh,
work because we'll be
oh my
like.
gosh. You will be going every 20 minutes, every 2 minutes you're gonna be shooting to the bathroom.
And I can't do that at work. I can't be like
Yeah.
with the harness on and the wardrobe on,
Oh
the bath,
yes, that's true.
like a 20-minute walk away, and I'm like, so.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that is so true.
but yeah, I think I'm lucky. I'm fortunate now that I don't want to say lucky because I work my ass off. No, just kidding. It's it's funny. I didn't used to say that until there's a couple guys that I know that I was like, don't let anybody say you're lucky. You guys worked your ass to get here. It's not like luck just made it happen. You like
Yeah.
legitimately worked hard to get here. And I was like, okay, I won't say that anymore. So,
Yeah.
but um he they're the one. What was I just lost my concentration. Oh, the more I was around all these people, and luckily now I can like afford to eat way healthier. You know,
Yeah,
it's hard because eating healthy is expensive, which is stupid, but
I think it's so worth it though too. Like if you can afford it,
yeah,
because what you're doing is that like you're keeping your mind strong and you're keeping your heart strong,
yeah, and
and your
it's
heart is the most important,
yeah, yeah, and your brain, like
and your
it's more like
brain.
training. I feel like the other thing that probably made me train a lot is, to be honest, my if I'm not doing anything, my brain is like, "What are you doing with yourself?" You know, it goes into like that self doubt mode. But as long as I was always training or working out, it was always life was easier. If I would
Hmm.
train, if I'd work out, if I kept myself moving and like exercising and training and always like being fit or like active, my brain would think more about what I'm doing than more about like anything else.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's easier for me to stay busy as well.
Mm. When you said that you did the what's it called
Intermittent
intermittent fashion
fasting, yeah.
fasting, like what is a day like? Because I'm thinking about doing that starting actually when the New Year's hit. Like, what is the day of that process like?
So when I do intermittent fasting, I do it a lot when I'm working because at work we have something called crafty, which is literally just a plethora of food that you just take whatever you want and eat it whenever you want. Like it's like a candy store
Okay.
open. So it's really easy to like gain weight on set. So when I'm at work, I usually actually will fast from 12 to 6, which or eat
Mm.
from 12 to 6. So I won't eat in the morning. I'll start eating at noon. I'll try not to overeat. Like you don't want to eat more because a lot of it is basically about reducing your caloric intake. So if you eat all your
Okay.
food for the day in 6 hours, it's kind of doesn't help that much. But
Okay.
I'll eat I'll eat at like 12, or if I go later then I'll just cut it off at 6. And
So from 12 to you won't eat anything when you first wake up in the morning, all the way up until 12.
yeah,
And when you eat at 12, what would you eat?
just like whatever's around, like if there's sandwiches or food, or if they have something at the catering, or like usually lunch is at 12.
Hmm.
Um, and then like,
You wouldn't have
and then if I stop by
like a
6,
you wouldn't have like a snack or anything or fruits or nothing?
not before 12,
Not
no. Because
before
like if you
12?
eat too
Okay.
much fruit, there's also a lot of sugar in fruit apparently. And then, like I'll eat a lot of protein, uh,
Okay.
because protein helps like your body has a hard time metabolizing too much
Mm-hmm.
protein. It'll like it makes your metabolism work harder. But all these different rules that I know they have for different meals and everything to lose weight and eating and certain things. I've tried those and they do, but mentally fasting is way easier for me because I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to think about meal prep. I don't have to think about this. I just
Okay.
have to think, eat now, don't eat anymore. And then it's like that's all I have to think about and I don't have to worry about like
Damn, that's so hard.
yeah, I it's funny because I paid for a nutritionist one year and he had me eating like a little bit over my weight in protein
Hmm.
and every like 3 hours, but they're like little meals. And
Yeah.
I I I lost weight, but I was like upset most of the day. Like I was always hungry, you know, I was never
Heck
satisfied.
yeah.
I was like stressing because I was like hungry and I was like I can't do this at work because I want to eat and like I don't know if it's like whatever, but then if I eat like the right amount and then I just stop at a certain time, it's not like I'm tempted to eat more, or, you know, whatever. So
Hmm.
that works for me. That I've done.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that, Miss Lee. I know you probably got things to do, and I just want to say thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna put this on YouTube,
Okay.
and I appreciate you taking time out to do
Yeah.
this. And 2023, I wish you the best.
You too.
So whatever you're doing successfully, and maybe I'll run into you. Do you plan to go to anything like event, or are you just kind of just so consumed with work?
Hopefully, when I get back, I mean, I'm gonna be gone till the middle of the year, and then hopefully when
Oh,
I come back, I can go to some stuff. It'd be nice. I was kind of bummed
yeah.
freestyle session and Red Bull. I was like. because the guys were there.
Yeah, it was a dope event though, but I'm pretty sure you could have watched it too as well. Like, but when you're there, it's different
Yeah,
than just watching it on your phone.
I definitely get like FOMO when I watch it online. I'm like, oh, I just want to like. Sometimes I just want to cipher, you know. I just want to like vibe with it
Yeah,
now. Except the last freestyle session I went to, I was like, wow, a lot of people are new, and I don't know. A
I
lot of the
know.
people weren't actually there. Like there was a good amount of people that were there, but there's a lot of out of towners and other people that there weren't as many like internationals and stuff. And
Yeah, believe me, there's so many new faces. So I'm just like looking around. I'm like, where's everybody at? Where's Crumbs at? Where's Ivan? Like,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, he was there. I mean, Flowmaster was there, which is cool and
yeah.
wicked. It was good seeing everybody.
Hmm. Okay, Miss Lee, thank you for everything, and I hope that you have a good day. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, you too. See you. Thanks for
Okay,
bye.
bye.